Hello everyone, Big Seven here, back for another SuperCoach BBL video. I'm going to review my starting team. I made a couple of changes from my final team reveal, and basically go through what happened this round. I scored 980 points, which is a little bit underwhelming, but BBL is volatile. There's definitely time to make up some ground. After round one last year, I was about 5,500 and finished just outside the top 100. So I'm not too dismayed by this start, although it would have been nicer to score more. So going into the team, there were a couple of sneaky things that I did. First sneaky thing was Jilks and Russo. I decided to loophole them as they were batting second in their innings against the Stars. I thought the Stars, with that batting lineup, could have scored a lower total, which would lower the ceiling of Jilks and Russo. Turned out being okay, Jilks with a 0 in the first innings and Russo with a 10, but Stoinis also scored a 0, so I think Stoinis is pretty unlucky. I know he was coming back from COVID, but he was in promo videos the day before the season, was expected to bat, was expected to bowl, and barely batted and didn't bowl at all. So a little bit unlucky there. Definitely couldn't have predicted him going this low. I was kind of out in the sense that if I wasn't having Stoinis on field, I would have gone with Rousseau on field. But if Stoinis had just been out in the first game, I probably would have gone Coulter-Nile. So that's mildly annoying. The keeper situation. So Jilk scoring a 0 in the first game, and I had Agar sitting in my batting line and Inglis in my wicketkeeper line initially. I decided after Jilks got a 0 that I wasn't going to let that stand. With Jilks essentially having a single game week, I decided that I might as well spend the money, get in Philippi. He didn't have a double this week, but he has a double in week 5. So while people are trading in Philippi for week 5, that's an extra Sixers or Renegades player that I will have as an advantage in that round. Unfortunately, Philippi didn't score that well, but the thinking was correct. Other players, Daniel Sams, he did pretty well. I used him as my vice captain. Saw he scored about 60 odd in the first game and decided just to be safe and take that. Turned out being a decent decision. Sanger, I guess the whole Thunder batting lineup was extremely underwhelming. Going all out for 15, that was absolutely crazy. And so I guess the consequence of that is these guys are going to drop in price. But with another double coming up, I just have to hold them. Shadab Khan, I did have in that video, only scored 38, but I am pretty enthused by his role. Bowled 4 overs, though I'm not sure. I didn't watch the Hurricanes game, but it did seem a little bit weird the way they were using the bowlers, holding Ellis back for the majority of the innings, getting Shadab Khan through fairly early. Just seemed a little bit off in terms of that. But bowling 4 overs and also batting at 4. He only scored 38, but I'm happy to have started him. I guess it puts non-owners in a bit of an awkward position because he has the role and the potential to score large now, but if you're bringing him in, then you're sacrificing a double. I was okay making that sacrifice at the start of the year, so I think it's still okay to make that kind of sacrifice, but if he goes big next week and you don't have him, it's going to be a scary ride. Onto the bowlers, they all did mostly okay, the exception of DeGrandhomme. I did say DeGrandhomme was a boom or bust player at the in my last video. So him scoring 52, it's not too much of a surprise. For Rookie, I was umming and ahhing a bit, but once I realised that Kadir wasn't in the Thunder squad, I was happy to roll with him. 184 vindicated. Rashid Khan, a little bit unlucky, didn't get to bowl in this second game at all. Same with people that had Peter Siddle, just pretty unlucky. Like, you can't predict a team going all out for 15 within 6 overs. I was still can't get over that. And then Trent Bolt, 103, it was okay. I kind of wish I had the money to upgrade to short, but I kind of got bailed out in the sense I could have been punished a lot more for not having short. I only lost about 30 or 40 points in the end, so that's fine. And Zampa, I loopholed him. He did very well, 149, definitely not complaining about him. So I'm going to rearrange the team pretty quickly. So I guess my plan going into the next week is that I'm only going to run with 9 doubles. I've got Philippi as, I guess, a star player that I want to field regardless of how many doubles he has. And then my 11th spot, I'm going to use a loophole between Shadab Khan and a player that you will see in a minute. So I'm just going to put Inglis on field. Ground home. That's all blue. I think that works. So I just mentioned that I want Philippi and Jilks and Inglis to all be on field this week. Jilks and Inglis have doubles. I know Jilks spent me last time, but he's on a double. I don't have flexibility of unlimited trades to trade around his score. It's put up or shut up time for Jilksy. And same for Russo. 13 points in 2 games. Not really acceptable from an international player, but got to have faith in these kind of guys. So I'll put him on field as well. So in order to get Philippi, Jilks, and Inglis, I need to get in a player by the name of Samuel Billings. Sam Billings doesn't actually play this week. He's on a bye, but he has the double next week. 147k is a bit of a hefty price to pay for, I guess, a bench fodder. But I've looked ahead. There's 4 other heat guys that I want to bring in next week, which means I will boost next week rather than this week. And Billings is one of those guys. He can sit on the bench and enable Inglis, Philippi, and Jilks to all get a run in my lineup. So I also need to get rid of Trent Bolt. And the third one is to Grandhome. So I'm getting rid of 3 class players, or 2 class players into Grandhome. I need the cash. It is nice to be able to hold on to these players, but if the choice is between Rashid Khan and a player on a double, then I'm taking the player on a double every day of the week, especially if it's a good player. So the first one I am getting is, I'm actually still tossing up between 2 players. They both play for the Scorchers. They're both bowlers. I'm tossing up between Ashton Agar and Andrew Tye. Where is Andrew Tye? All the way down there. Sort by price. So Andrew Tye just a little bit cheaper than Agar. I'm interested to see exactly how Perth line up in terms of their bowlers. I'm expecting it to be something like Ty Richardson and actually, will Richardson play? I don't think Richardson will play actually. I think it will probably be Ty, Berendorf, and Kelly as their pace bowlers. And then Hatsoglu, who I've already got. He's a bit of a sketchy one, but he did play in most of Perth's games last year, and he did play fairly well in the recent T20 tournament, so I'm expecting him to play, and then Ashton Agar will be the 5th bowler, with probably Hardy as that 6th bowling option that might get an over or 2 here and there. So I'm tossing up between Ty and Agar. I'm going to put in Ty for now just because he's more likely to get some cheap wickets. I think Agar is the better player, but I'm more interested in getting the player that gets more points. And then the last player that I am going to bring in is actually a Renegades player looking forward to the round 5 double. And it's another player that cooked in the recent T10 tournament, and that's Akil Hossein. Was looking at him at the start of the year. Didn't have the cash to be able to pick him over Hatzoglu, so missed out on him. He would have been on my bench anyway, so it's not too devastating. The reason I'm bringing him in this week is because he is someone I'm going to want at round 5, but if I wait until round 5, then he could be 150k, he could be 170k. He's just got a big price in his cycle, so he is going to go up in price. And yeah, it means I'll have one less double this week, but it means I'll have another double in the Renegades and Sixers week. So I'll confirm those trades. 53k left in the salary cap. I did have a look forward. I am going to need the money. With all the Thunder players losing cash, with the exception of Samson Faruqi, I'm probably going to need that buffer to be able to get the expensive Heat players I want next week. And so the expensive ones I want are Baisley, Steckity, and Munro. And I'm also going to boost and bring in a player that performed very well last week. There was a bit of hype around him, and that was Kuhneman. So I'm going to boost next week and bring those 4 players in. That'll give me 5 for the Heat double, and that'll leave me in a pretty good spot for that. And in terms of team lineup this week, I guess I'll put Inglis on my bench. If he scores a 0, then maybe if he scores a 0, then I can reverse this Billings trade and turn Jilks into my keeper line and probably pick Agar or Ty, or the one that I end up going without. If Inglis does okay, then I will leave it as is. Batting is going to be the same as it is, most likely. And then the sneaky thing I'm doing, Akil Hossein plays in the second game, Shadab Khan plays in the third game. So what I can do is I can put the emergency on Hossein. If he scores well, then I put Zampa onto my field and take Hossein's score. If he doesn't score well, then I elect to play Shadab Khan. And in terms of vice captaincy and captaincy, I've only got 3 Perth players, so I'm picking my most expensive one in Andrew Ty. If I end up with Agar, it'll end up being Agar with the vice captaincy. And then in terms of Thunder, it's just hard to trust anyone other than Sam's at this stage. We'll get to bowl. The way the Thunder batting lineup has performed, he's a decent chance of having a lengthy bat as well. I was hoping that Sanger would get more overs than he did. Only bowled 1 over in tonight's game. So yeah, moving forward, Thunder. This is how I'm expecting to line up. Potentially bringing in a. Actually, hang on. I can't bring in Agar if Inglis ever performs because Agar will have already played. So I'm pretty much set on this. Maybe Agar over Ty. That's pretty much my only decision point in terms of that. And then on to next week. I probably won't make a video, but the trades I'm planning on doing, 4 of these Thunder guys, so probably Sanger, Hales, Russo, and Sams, probably, are the 4 that I'll plan on getting rid of. Or maybe even Stoinis as well, potentially. By the way, I'm going to be making 4 trades to bring in 4 Brisbane Heat players. So that's the end of the video. Those are my general plans, obviously subject to change. So if you're trying to copy like for like, then there's a chance that you will get burnt. Good luck for next week or the next couple of weeks. Make sure to subscribe to the channel to make sure you are notified of my next future videos, and I will see you for the next one.